Hey, Mech Warriors, welcome to Bad Ben's Battle Mechs. I'm Bad Ben. This is episode 2 of my Battletech Aces Scouring Sands campaign. Today we're doing sortie 4, Tunnel Raid. So before I go any further, there are definitely going to be spoilers. If you want to play Aces, I suggest turning off this video right now and buying Aces. It has been requested of me that I show some of the Aces cards and how they work. Now, I don't want to do this for every single move that the enemy makes. I think we'll be here for hours if I do that, but I will definitely show some throughout the game. Hopefully some every turn. So, let's get into it. What are we looking at? I've got it all set up. The enemies are all in their right position here. These are my guys just waiting to be placed. But I will go over what we're looking at. Basically, this is a really interesting map. I think this is really fun. I like how they can, even using this kind of janky cardboard terrain, you can make some pretty fun maps with it. So this one, basically everything inside of this area, inside of these rocks here, is tunnels. So this is basically a mountain, and the mountain's been cut off, and you can see inside. So this has a couple of effects. Mechs inside of this area can't jump. Nobody can go on top of these rocks inside or on the outside. These rocks are off limit because basically this is the ceiling. These are more like pillars, right? Elementals, of which we have a couple of, can jump within the tunnels. So there are elementals. I'll show you where they all are. They're kind of hiding at the moment. Otherwise, on the map, we have some canyons. So here's a canyon, 1-inch deep canyons. And we have a bit of forested area. Here's a forest here, and there is a tree line. Now, I'll say the directions of this map, north, south. This is kind of different than what we had last time. East and west. So the map is squeezed a little in this direction. It's not actually squeezed so much. What I did was I cut off this side, kind of. More because there's not really much over there. And this whole area is really interested, so I pretty much kept this. This has all the proper dimensions and this whole area here, right, has all the proper dimensions that you should have on the map. So that is the overhead view. I'll give a quick kind of action cam view here. All right. So this is the whole kind of tunnel area where everybody is, all the enemy is set up with all these coins that I will explain in a moment. There are the canyons and the forest over in that direction, right? We have the elementals sticking there. We have a summoner here, a rifleman over here. We also, here in the middle, there are 2 medium emplacements. That one on the right is kind of like a bunker. The other's a turret. And there are more medium placements. This is also, it might look bigger, but these are the only placements I have. So imagine that's a medium emplacement. There on that side, and all the way over there is the other medium emplacement. So that's a really interesting, fun map. This is not where my team is deploying. I'm just getting ready to show off all of the forces, show their unit cards what we're dealing with here today. And starting it off for the Jade Falcons, we have a Summoner A. This is going to be the commander of the enemy forces. Then we have the Rifleman C3. Not the same variant that was in the previous mission. It can't jump. Sorry, its skill is a little smudged there. Skill 3. Everybody on the enemy team has skill 3. Then we have 2 elementals, both identical, also skill 3. 1, 2, and oh no, not everybody on the enemy team has skill 3. The medium emplacements, all 4 of them, have skill 4. So there are 4 medium emplacements there for the enemy. Put everybody back in their positions. Then for my team, we have the Pillager that I like so much. I love it. I love TSM. I don't know why. It's not even all that great a mech. It's fine. It's got some good armor. It's got good movement. Once the TSM is activated, it can move an extra 2 inches. Plus, I will be piloting it by Bad Ben with the Speed Demon edge ability, which allows an extra 2 inches. So this thing can actually get up to 10-inch movement. Next up, we have the Highlander 2C. Oh, I gotta say, I had to pick mechs with hands because of the mission that we have. I kind of need hands to pick up some supplies, and so I had to kind of pick out all my mechs that did have hands. This isn't an ideal win. I want to get in there fast and out fast because, yeah, I just want to do that. I'll explain in a minute. And this isn't exactly the best unit for doing that. It can only move 6. It can jump, if that might help me. Anyway, then we got the Caesar. This is probably, also has hands. All of my units are skill 4. You can see they all have a 4 there. Also super slow, so I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get much of anything, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I do have some quick units. This one, the Hellspawn, does not have hands. That is kind of unfortunate. It won't be able to pick up anything and carry it. But it does have the probe special ability, which allows it to scan 12 inches away. Normally, the other mechs need to be 4 inches away to know what is under a token. This one can scan, and it's very fast. So, although it's fast jumping, it's 12. I'm sorry, you can't see the movement so well. It's 12 movement, 16 jump. In the tunnels, that 16 jump isn't going to help me. I can't jump in there, but I do what I can with what I got. This one, however, seems to be absolutely tailor-made for this mission. Excellent mech. The Legionnaire, movement 18, jump 14. So we can actually, walk 14 inches, and it has 2 hands. In fact, I think that the Legionnaire is even based off some industrial mech. Like, it looks like it. It looks like it's based off some kind of loader mech. Is that maybe a loader king? I don't know what a loader king looks like off the top of my head. But I feel like that's what this is for. So I feel like the Legionnaire was absolutely made for this mission. But it can only carry 1 supply. Legionnaire. No, what am I talking? That was the Legionnaire. Next, yes, I am bringing also a Savannah Master. I don't know if this is a good idea. I had some extra points left over I didn't have a Savannah Master last time. In fact, I sold my Skulker C. I sold that for 20 times its value. It was worth 21 points. And I had to buy this, which is 11 points, for 40 times its value. So it actually kind of almost evened out. I had to pay 20 extra support points to get the Savannah Master, but here it is, and it's very fast. Also, it needs to be within 4 inches, but it has 26-inch movement. So those are my units now. I upgraded my pilots slightly from the last mission. I was able to give them 80 SP support points, or whatever you call them. I put 60 into edge tokens, and that gives me 3 edge tokens. The rest I put into edge ability. That was 20 left over. And I did that with my other burger. Fries actually got the MVP. You can see there's a 1 down here. That means they got the MVP. That's because in the last mission they were piloting the gunsmith, which got into the rifleman's back so well that it needed to basically retreat. So Fries got the MVP, 20 extra points. They just put that 20 extra points into edge abilities, but that doesn't grant any extra edge abilities. And Cola is exactly the same as the other 2. So we all get 3 edge tokens, which I think is pretty good. Like I was saying, I always kind of like to keep 1 edge token in reserve because they do let you re-roll crits. And if you get, for example, a unit destroyed crit, you'd probably want to re-roll that. And so that's that. Those are the forces. Again, skill, everybody on the mechs and the elementals on the enemy team have skill 3, the placement skill 4. Everybody on my team has skill 4. All right. I just didn't mention, so I, Bad Ben, am piloting the Pillager. Like I said, Burger is in the Highlander 2C. Fries is in the Legionnaire, and Cola is in the Hellspawn. The Caesar and the Savannah Master are both piloted by unnamed pilots. And we'll take a quick look at the commander card. We'll start with card A. And it says, before moving a unit, it has no enemies. If it has no enemies within 30, add the following movement filter to its chosen behavior, out of line of sight to the fewest enemies. But it gains no initiative bonus or anything like that. All right, so I think we can get to reading. There's a story part, then there's a briefing, and then some more stuff, game rules, and we'll go over what's actually going to happen. So this is the story part from the view of one of the elemental units of the Jade Falcons. So, though our Khan may have taken some birds of prey from our roost, Apolachia is still in the talons of the Jade Falcon, is it not? Point Commander Mary bellowed, her voice as deep and powerful as only an elemental's could be. Aft, Point Commander, her assembled elementals roared back, standing stiffly at attention, armor gleaming. They had been mustered before her for a weapons and armor inspection that she, as often she did, decided to turn into an impromptu yelling match against their rival Point. Mine are louder than yours, Deacon, you Salama cur, Mary thought, listening to the cavern walls ring out with the echoes of her Point's booming voices, just as they are stronger, faster, and better in every way. And while we may not be diving for Terra and seeing our Khan made Ilkhan, with our own guns, our own claws, our own bare hands, have we not been trusted to hold Apolachia still? Aft, Point Commander, rang out again. She frowned, pathetic. She wanted them louder. And when our Khan returns triumphant, will we not stand proudly before her and show her that we held this place, that we did our duty even in her distant absence. Aft point, Commander, they yelled. And is this not is and is this cash, these weapons, this ammunition, these Gauss slugs and autocannon shells, all of it crucial to the Jade Falcons continuing to hold this world? Aft point, Commander, her arrayed warriors dutifully responded. Then I ask you, as Star Captain Conrad Sender asks of you, will you hold these caves? Aft point, Commander, they yelled. I cannot hear you. I believe surats have filled my elemental suits. I ask, will we hold these caves? She gestured with her claw, a sweep of her arm, taking them all in. Aft point, Commander! The answer came back to her, louder than before. One last time. Your clan asks of you. Come wolves or ghost bears, come hell's horses or spheroids to the slaughter. Come fire and steel and death itself. Will we hold these caves? Aft point, Commander! It was an animalistic roar this time, neck muscles straining and veins showing on red faces. She nodded. There we are. Mean it when you talk to me. You're damned right. She turned to face them, the muzzle of her Gauss rifle planted on one hip, her flexing claw planted on the other. Now, helmets on, seals closed, and weapons hot. Our ship begins in 90 seconds. Make yourselves ready, warriors. Mary smiled grimly as they obeyed, crisply and quickly, because Kerensky knows we cannot trust Deacon's pathetic muling batch of fools to keep this cache safe. The duty falls to us, and we will not let the clan down. It's a serious bunch, those elementals. So, this is our mission briefing. Thanks to some information from the Appalachians, you know the target is a mountain on the northern shore of the Styx that the Jade Falcons have reportedly been using as a supply cache. The locals show you some evidence of warriors coming and going from the site over the past few months. Secrecy won't be the only defense that protects this stockpile, however. An extensive cave network runs under the mountain and would afford them many places to stash munitions and possibly even vehicles. From satellite imaging, you can tell the entrances to the cave will accommodate battle mechs, but none of the locals have any intel on what exactly you might be hidden inside or how narrow the passages get. You'll have to get in there and take any supplies away from the enemy, or destroy them if you have to. It's time to see the tunnel rats if the tunnel rats can outfight the Falcons. I don't know about the tunnel rats, but the black rats can. You might have noticed I've changed the symbol. It used to be a Fed Sun symbol, and I put my own mercenary company's logo there. So we are the Black Rats, and we are coming for you. So in this mission, I was able to do some reconnaissance. It says you may perform any or all of the following reconnaissance options prior to the sortie, and I did both, and I am very happy I did. I got to say, sometimes reconnaissance is really worth it. Sometimes it's not so worth it. In this case, I'd say it was really worth it. So first is called covert deployment. Attempt to sneak up to the base of the mountain using the canyons for cover. Spend 60 SP and read 04Y. So I did that. I spent my 60 XP SP. And now I read 04. Y. Where is Y? X, Y. Okay. Other than the handful of emplacements around the base of the mountain, the Jade Falcons don't seem to have any patrols. The shallow canyon along the edge of the mountain range must have been left by a long dried river and proves to be easy for your force to traverse without being spotted. When the time is right, your mechs will simply have to stand up and commence operations. You may deploy units anywhere on the canyon tiles of the map in addition to the blue outlined deployment area. Okay, so what does this mean? It means I am allowed to deploy along these canyons anywhere here or here. if I hadn't done this, the only place I would be allowed to deploy is a triangle up in this corner. Now I have the option of all three, and I am picking this one over here. All of my forces will be deploying from there. But that's not all of the reconnaissance. One moment, let me get back. Infiltrates. Send some scouts on foot to infiltrate the enemy perimeter and get a look inside the cave. Spend 120 SP and read O4Z. All right, so O4Z. Your scouts manage to sneak past the perimeter emplacements without too much difficulty and get eyes on the contents of one of the larger caverns. They report their findings back to you. Before placing waypoint tokens, read O4A and O4B. Place waypoints A and B face up in any of the positions shown on the map before shuffling and placing the remaining waypoints on the map. So, you can see there are some yellow ones, and there is A and B here and here. So I know two of them, and I will read what they are. A stray shot. Nope. Wrong. That was O5A. Here's O4A. You see several neatly stacked columns of crates, most likely containing autocannon shells. This waypoint represents a supply cache to be picked up or destroyed. O4B, various fuel drums and other stockpiles, all caked in a thick layer of dust, are gathered here. This waypoint represents a supply cache to be picked up or destroyed. I might say, you might hear me say cache sometimes instead of cache. I grew up also speaking French, and when I see that word, I want to say cache, just off the top of my head. But it's cache. It's a cache. So forgive me if I do say cache once in a while. One last thing before we get started. I want to show this with the commander card, but it doesn't matter. The colors. My units have been color coded. So the Caesar has been is yellow. The Highlander 2C is red. And the Savannah Master is blue. And you'll see when I show some of the Aces cards how that plays into the decisions that the units make and so on. So I think we are ready for first turn initiative. I'm going to change the color of the dice. I'm going to use red dice. Last game I used some green sparkly dice, but I don't like the sparkles. It makes it harder to read. So nobody gets any bonuses in this round. Nothing from the card. I'm red. They're white. What did we get? I got a 9 and they got a 6. That means I win first initiative. They're going to have to move first. We'll move the initiative token to number 1. I'll take this off the board. But here I just wanted to show on turn 6 there is a waypoint H. And if I get to turn 6, that's going to activate. And I don't know what's going to happen. But it's not usually good. Especially for these things where they kind of want you to get in and get out. It's kind of like a timer. So I do have a plan. My plan, you can see, let's get a better shot on the action cam. My forces all lined up here on this southern canyon here. My idea is kind of try to stay a little grouped together, although that's really hard because my units have ridiculously different movement and I need to get in there fast. But at least at first, just rushing this door here, there's an emplacement here, but we should be cut off from line of sight from these emplacements here and definitely this one over here. So I'm not going to have to worry about them. Plus, I'm going to try to take advantage of the fact that they are spread out. So here, sorry, that's the Rifleman C3. Here's an Elemental. Here's an Elemental here. And here is their Summoner. So The summoner, being the commander, I kind of want to rush this way. Summoner's almost definitely going to come out to meet us, and I want us to focus fire on it. Try to take it out early. If you can take out the commander, you get a permanent +2, or they get a permanent -2 to their initiative, which is really nice to have. So that's my plan. Get in there, at least for the first turn. Try to stay. I'm not going to run my really fast units in here and get shot by these things, right? I'm going to keep everybody probably in this area so that everybody's line of sight is. Let's see if it works. I don't know. Let's hope. All right, so I thought we'd start it off with an Aces card. Hopefully you can read that a little bit. I know it's not, I made it a little bit bigger, but I still want to show what it's going to do on the large map. So this is going to be this elemental right there. So we start with which column. Are we going to be aggressive? Are we going to be balanced? Are we going to be cautious? Aggressive says if there are any activated enemies in 12 inches, there definitely are no activated enemies. That means enemy units that have already moved this turn. None of my units have moved. This is the first unit to move in the game, so absolutely it's not being aggressive. Next, it says if there are any enemies in this unit's line of sight. Actually, there are none because it's standing right behind a mountain, so it's not even going to be balanced. It's going to be cautious. Now, cautious starts with target nearest. So it wants to go towards the nearest target. And the nearest target for this one just happens to be the Caesar, simply because it's standing right there. So what does it want? It says if there are no enemies in 36 and no allies with indirect fire, sprint. I don't want to sprint. There are enemies within 36 inches, so not going to be sprinting. Then it says if sprinting out of line of sight of all enemies, but that's not the case. So what does it want? It wants line of sight to the target. It wants to move towards the target and wants to occupy woods. Now that's going to be hard being inside of a tunnel. There are no woods, so we got to kind of disregard the woods, but it wants line of sight. So the only way it's going to do that is jump here, right? And it's going to get line of sight to the Caesar if it jumps about 6 inches that way. Sorry, my lines aren't perfectly straight. I'm doing it all with a mouse. So that's what we're going to do. And you can see here's the elemental on the action cam, and it's just jumping out that way. And the Caesar is out this tunnel entrance here. And I can measure it. Where's my measuring thing? Sorry. Got it. And it can jump 6 inches. So it's just jumping bonks right over there. Kind of off the camera, sorry. It doesn't care about partial cover or anything like that because infantry units can't get partial cover. So it jumped. Yeah, it jumped from there to there and now has line of sight to the Caesar. So for me, I have to move 2 units because of uneven numbers, and I have to move them earlier because of the Aces rules. So I'm going to be moving my Caesar and my Highlander 2C, which are these 2 first ones here, and they're just going to be moving out of the canyon. The Caesar does not have jumping movement, and it only has 6 movement, and it needs 2 inches to get out of the canyon, so it can really only move 4 inches. The Highlander could jump 6, which I think I might want to do. Maybe it'll make hitting anything hard. I'm not really sure. Maybe the Highlander's just going to walk as well. So Caesar has to walk, and it's going to go forward, and it can go 4. because of the canyon. And it has line of sight. Wait, does it have maybe partial cover from the elementals? No. It could if it were to maybe go over this way instead. Stand there. Yeah, now it's got some partial cover at least from the elementals. Although, actually, no. I'm going to do that again. He's going to start there, and he's going to go straight forward for... Not everybody's going to be able to get partial cover, and I'd like the Caesar to get hit. It is very, very tough with 14 armor. And so, actually, I'd love it if they focused on the Caesar. Then the Highlander, yeah. That's the decision. Jump or don't jump. If I jump, it's not going to get me into medium range or anything, or into short range or anything if I jump. So I think he's just coming out for as well. Right there. Next, to move for the enemy is going to be the rifleman up here in this corner. You can see on the action cam right here. I just explained the card. It didn't want to be aggressive because there's no activated enemies within 24, but there are activated enemies within 30. This distance is just about 30 between it and the Caesar. So it's going to be balanced. And all it says, it wants to go towards the enemy, right? And all it can do is move 8 inches. And there's no way, either way it goes around, it's not going to get into line of sight of anyone. So here it is, and it's just going to be moving in that direction here, 8 inches. That's right, isn't it? 8? Rifleman C3, 8 inch. It doesn't even have any jumping movement. So yeah, it's moving there. Just see it on the action cam. It can't really, it has no line of sight. You can see here. This hill is blocking anything completely. All right, then I'm going to move somebody. So for me, next, my pillager up here is just going to move up ahead. It's also not going to jump. Move ahead with its buddies. And it will also only be able to move 4 because it's not jumping, and its TSM isn't on, so its movement is actually only 6 at the moment. When I overheat, it will be able to move 8. So that's where the pillager moves. Maybe angled a little like that. Can see everyone. So I actually have to move 2 units again before they move another one. And I decided I'm actually going to take my Savannah Master, which is right there, and I'm only going to move it like a little bit up this canyon. So this canyon is actually 1 inch deep, and the Savannah Master being so tiny, you can see it up on the action cam here. You can barely see it. Will be out of line of sight of everyone if it stays inside this canyon. So it's just going to move a little bit. It doesn't want to be brave yet. It's very weak. I want to use it, when I'm more certain of the situation. But it's going to do that. So that's 2 units moved for me. Next, for the Falcons, it's going to be this elemental up here. You can see it here on the action cam. It's also going to be cautious. It doesn't have any enemies within line of sight. It's a lot like the other card. It wants to move towards the enemies, but it only has a jump of 6 or a movement of 6, and that'll take them like there, or maybe there, and it wants to go towards the enemy. So I guess it'll jump about there. It's not going to have line of sight to anybody, but that's as good as it can do. Maybe next turn it'll hope to jump out here and maybe get a shot on my guys coming in this way. So that is what this elemental is going to do, it's just going to jump 6 towards the enemy, but it's not going to be able to see anyone. So that's really good for me. That's what I wanted. I wanted a round, at least one round, where less enemies get to shoot at me. So next for me, I'm going to be moving my Legionnaire, which is right here. This one. You can see it up on the action cam. It has a very large jump. And I'm going to be jumping it. It can jump 14, and I'm going to be jumping it here. There's a bit of an issue. There's a turret directly here. And that means that I will be in short range of that turret. That turret can only do 1 damage. And I thought about maybe jumping over to this wall. However, there's still a summoner over here, and it's going to be moving in this direction. And it will, if I'm over here, could possibly get shot by the summoner and the turret at the same time. And I want to try to protect my lighter mechs, so I am going to be jumping over to this wall. I will be in short range of that turret there. See on the action cam, just jumping over here. Oh, it can jump 14. And that's pretty much exactly 14 to the wall. But it's not going to put its rear to the... Actually, maybe it'll put its back to the wall like that. You can still see the turret. The turret can't shoot it in the back. That turret will almost definitely shoot it because it's the nearest. Okay. Yeah, I'm a little indecisive. It's a little... I don't know what's going to happen. So last to move for the Falcons is going to be the Summoner, and I thought this is another interesting card to look at. I hope you can read it, but I'll read what it says. First, we'll look at the columns, and it says, if there are any activated enemies in 18 and no unactivated enemies in 6, and that is, both of those points are true. This Caesar is really just within 18. And 6 inches is only like this, and there are no enemies, unactivated enemies within 6 inches, so it will take the aggressive course of action. Now, what does it want to do? It wants to go towards a target that is in 12 inches. There's no targets in 12 inches, and then targets in 18 inches. The Caesar is in 18 inches. You could maybe say that the Highlander right next to it is also in 18 inches. But it wants to get line of sight to an enemy, and it wants to get line of sight to the most blue enemy. Now, that's where this is kind of weird. The most blue enemy is my Savannah Master back here. But the Savannah Master is hiding in this canyon, has no line of sight and no chance to target it. The only ones it's actually looking at are the Caesar and the Highlander, right? And it wants the blue of those two. And what blue says is the highest TMM. Now, that doesn't really count for anything because they both have the same TMM. They have TMM1. The second point on the blue column on the commander card is the least structure. Now, out of the Highlander and the Caesar actually has the least structure. It actually only has 3. It has 14 armor, but only 3 structure. So it wants to go towards the Caesar. It wants to be able to see the Caesar. It wants cover versus the most enemies. And it wants to occupy woods like usual, but it can't do that. So actually, if it simply moves to this corner here, it can block line of sight from it and pretty much all of my units except the Caesar and get partial cover from the Caesar. So that's definitely where it's going to go. So we can see it here on the action cam, and it's just moving. Terrible line. Terrible line. It's not moving to where that line says it's going to move there. So it can move 10, and that is only 8. So I can move that. No problem. Sorry. Yeah. Should erase this stuff first. Yeah, and from there, well, to say that the Highlander can't see it is actually, that's actually a lie. Now that I'm kind of looking at it from my point of view, it has to stick out a little bit. So it wants cover from the most enemy. It has cover from all 3, but all 3 of them can actually see it. But still, that's going to be the best place, right? It has line of sight to 3 different enemies, cover from all of them. All right, last to move is going to be the Hellspawn, and it's going to join the Legionnaire there. And I was considering maybe this wall and shooting at the Summoner as well. But here's a little trick. Now that I've seen the Summoner's move card and that it wanted to move towards blue, it's probably going to want to shoot towards the blue target. And of the targets that it will be able to see, this is going to be my Hellspawn will be the most blue, because it will have the highest TMM, and that's the first priority on the blue card, right? Or on the blue column. The first priority is get the fastest mech. Now, I'll tell you my thinking here. I can kind of trick it, because if the Summoner can only see these 3, it's going to pick probably the most blue out of all 3 of these. Remember, it can't see the Savannah Master hiding in the canyon. So its highest TMM is blue, but like I said, they all have the same TMM, and the second is the least structure, and that's the Caesar over here. And so if I jump him to this wall, he'll almost definitely shoot the Caesar, which is exactly what I want, right? So here on the action cam, you can see, and he's just going to jump over to this side like that. And that should be easily within 16-inch jumping range. I'll just measure it quickly to be sure. Yep. So he's going to do the same thing right beside this turret, right beside his Legionnaire friend. You can see it right there. And the Summoner is on the other side of that wall, out of line of sight. So this is my thinking. Let's hope it works. All right. So everybody has moved. We could get to the fun part, shooting. Now, the Aces deck managed to surprise me. Not really because it was a surprise, just because I forget. That's how they surprise you. There's so much going on, you kind of forget what's going on. I was so confident about my Hellspawn and my Legionnaire jumping against this wall and being out of line of sight of everybody, I forgot that this Rifleman is coming this way and actually has a shot at that Legionnaire right there that's just within 24 inches. Doesn't even get cover from the Rifleman or anything. So yeah, that's a surprise, an unwelcome surprise. It's not a super easy shot. It needs 9s and it can do 4 damage. So let's hope it misses and my mistake won't be penalized too badly. So 9s and 4 damage. It missed. It missed with everything. Highest is a 7. Okay, so that's good. My Legionnaire can't take so much damage, and I don't want to lose it early on in the game. It wouldn't have. It's only 4 damage. It could have taken 5, I think. Yeah. Still, I don't want that hitting. So that's good. Next for them is actually going to be the Summoner that you can just see peeking over the wall here on the action cam. Right here, the Summoner is going to be shooting at the Caesar. And I was right. It did want to shoot the most blue of the units that it could see. And that happens to be the Caesar. You can see the Caesar here on the action cam. It's actually not a very difficult shot. It can do 4 damage and needs 6s. So, Summoner at the Caesar needs 6s, 4 damage. Did it hit with everything? Not with everything. There's 1 5, so that's 3 damage. 3 damage on the Caesar. The Caesar can take it. It has 14 armor. That's kind of what I want. Next up for them is going to be the Elemental. Probably see it there. It's a better view on the action cam. The Elemental there jumped out into the open and is going to be shooting out this door at the Caesar that's just off camera. There it is on the big map. Shooting at the Caesar. It's going to shoot at the Caesar because the card says to shoot at somebody that your ally has already shot at. That's something you see commonly on these cards. And since the Summoner shot at the Caesar, the Elemental wants to shoot at the Caesar. It also needs 6s and can do 2 damage. So let's see. Maybe it'll miss. Nope, it hit with 2 damage. So that's 5 damage in total this round on my Caesar. 1, 2. But it is a bullet sponge. It still has 9 armor left. Last to shoot for them is going to be the Emplacement. The one Emplacement that can see me. I thought that the Emplacement was going to shoot somebody within close range first, but it doesn't really distinguish. It says anybody within 24 inches, and that's everybody here that it can see. And it's actually going to be shooting at the Highlander. I think because it wants to shoot at the one with the most point value. So there's the Highlander there. You can see. And it needs a 7 and can do 1 damage. Hey, it missed. So the turret missed. The Highlander, no damage for them. That means that I get to shoot next. And starting it off, my Pillager, who is there on the action cam. Turn that a little. Everybody, all 3 of these are going to be shooting at the Summoner there. Is behind that wall. Pillager goes first. It needs 9s, and it's going to overheat by 1 this turn to get its TSM on. So that means it can do 5 damage, and we need 9s. I just dropped a die. It's all right. I got 5 here. Give me 9s. Ah! Missed with everything. Gosh. All right. So that was the Pillager at the Summoner. Then we'll do the Highlander at the Summoner, who also needs 9s and can do 6 damage. I gotta go find my drop die because I need 6. Got it. So Highlander, come on. Let's do better than the Pillager. Who's piloting the Highlander? Burger. Let's go, Burger. You can do it. You only need 9s. It's not so difficult. 6 damage. Oh, it got oh, that's not too bad actually. So how many did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. How did I miscount that? 4 damage on the summoner from the Highlander. Bam, bam. 1, 2, 3, 4. That leaves it with 2 armor left. Right. Then last to shoot for those 3 is going to be the Caesar. There's the Caesar who took all the damage this turn. It's shooting at the summoner right now as well. See him here on the action cam. Summoner peeking around the corner. Come on, you could get a crit. He can do 4 damage, needs 9s as well. Let's do this. Let's get lucky. 4 damage. How much structure does it have? Oh, it's got 4 structure, so it'll be able to survive. But I could give it a crit. So 4 dice. I need 9s. Let's go! Ah! Missed with everything. That is crappy. All right. So that's for my big 3. Next up, actually, my Legionnaire. You can see there on the action cam, the Legionnaire and the Hellspawn are both going to be shooting at that turret. And it's actually going to be an auto hit. So they each do 2 damage at short range. It's an auto hit because it's an emplacement. It doesn't move. They're very easy to hit. It gets a -4 to hit. So it's only going to be a 2. I am going to roll them anyways, though, because it's possible to get a crit. I could get a crit on that turret. And so it's worth rolling it regardless. So we'll go 2 damage first for the Legionnaire. Will I get a crit? No crit, but 2 damage. And next for the Hellspawn, 2 damage. Will I get a crit? I got a crit! Ha! See? All 6s, 3 6s. Look at that. That's really excellent. Because all crits on turrets are weapon crits. I don't really know. There's no crit table for turrets, and but I figure 9 and 5 are both no crit. So as long as I don't roll a 9 or a 5, I do a weapons crit on that turret. And I got a 6. A 6 doesn't matter. It's a weapon hit, and that is 0/0/0 damage now for that turret, which basically puts it out of the game. So 1 turret destroyed. It is counted as destroyed. If a turret is in forced withdrawal or something like that, or if it can't do any damage, if it can't do anything, then, count it as destroyed. So that is excellent. Oh, that turn went okay. I did some damage on the summoner. Here, we'll do a review. We'll do a review of all of the damage done to everyone here. So that does it for turn 1. We'll do a quick review of everybody's cards. Summoner has taken 4 damage, has no crits yet, but that's all right. Their medium emplacement took a weapon hit. Oh, I forgot to mark off the weapon hit there, but it doesn't matter. It's out of the game. And here's my Caesar that's taken 5 damage, but still has a ridiculous amount of armor left. Next, we will take a look at the commander card for the end of the turn. We'll see what that says. I don't know if you can read it. I'll read it from top to bottom. You do the first one that applies. So the first Card E, if this automated forces objective is complete. No. Card B, if you lost less PV worth of units this turn. No. C, if you lost more PV worth of units this turn. Yes, that's true. They lost the emplacement, and that means we go to card C. We'll see what card C says. Card C, initiative phase, assign the move last token to your unit with the most short range damage. So who has the most short range damage? I believe that is the rifleman. So the rifleman's going to get the move last token. Can't forget that. And then is the red, yellow, and blue, and that's going to change. So what does it say? Red is most structure lost. Nobody has any structure lost. 2 armor lost. The most armor lost is actually the Caesar. So the Caesar is going to become red. Yellow, the least armor. Well, that's easy. That's the Savannah Master back here. Blue is also the most armor lost. So that's the Caesar. So everybody's going to be focusing on the Caesar, which is kind of what I want. That's really good. So I guess we can do initiative for the next turn. They get no bonuses. No, that's not true. I won initiative last turn. So they get a plus, or I get a -2 to my initiative. So we can roll that now. And I'm going to be red. They're going to be white. What did I get? I got a 5. They got a 9. I even got a -2. So I lost initiative. Going to move up the token. Whoops. And they won. All right. So I'll get all the movement set up, and I'll be back in a second. So starting off, I have to move 2, and they're going to move 3. And for me, I'm going to start with my Caesar that's just going to march 6 inches that way. And I'm going to take this Savannah Master and possibly go up behind here, out of sight of everyone. I'm just going to measure that. It does have 26 inches movement, but it does have to get out of that canyon. Give me a second. Yeah, so hover vehicles need 4 inches to get out of 1 inch elevation change, leaving it with 20, but that's going to be enough to get it there. Take your yellow marker with you, and you get ground movement and the Caesar here. If the Caesar just moves forward 6, the summoner will be able to get into its back pretty easily. Summoner has a movement of 10, and it's just about 10 inches away. I actually got to think about this. All right, I've thought about it, and the Caesar's going to move to this corner. There it is in the action cam. The summoner will possibly be able to get around it. But I have 2 others here that would possibly be able to get into the summoner's rear if that happens. And my Caesar can take a lot more damage than the summoner can. So it's a risk I'm willing to take. Plus, actually, the summoner has a sniper deck. Sniper decks don't usually call for them to run out and get into an enemy's rear. They actually want to keep their distance. Not sure what the summoner might do, but it might actually fall back. We'll see. So yes, my Caesar is just going to move ahead. Right here. Kind of take cover, but the rifleman shouldn't have any line of sight to it at all. The rifleman up there. It's being blocked by there. All right, so that's my two. Let's see what they do. So here's another aces card I thought we could look at. It's pretty much, I just want to show this to show how often they do kind of the same things in the same situations. So first of all, aggressive says if there are any activated enemies in 8 inches, no. If so, balance says if there's any enemies within this unit's line of sight, also no. So it's going to go to cautious, and it's going to jump towards the target. It wants to occupy woods, and it wants to move towards a target. Its target is nearest, so that would be the Caesar right here. This is the elemental we're talking about. So it's just going to jump like that. It will get line of sight to these ones, but they haven't moved yet, so that doesn't really make a difference. But there's really not much more it can do. So they'll jump 6. Over top of that turret. Stand right there. And they knocked over the turret as they went. That's okay, they fixed it. So they don't have a line of sight to the Caesar at all. Oh, they didn't sprint. They jumped. Next, I'm going to have to move 2 again. And first of all, I'll do it with the Hell Spawn. There you can see it on the action cam. It's here, and it's going to run 12, and it's going to keep its back here, and it's going to be looking at that waypoint. So it can scan within 12 inches. It doesn't need to be within 4 inches. This will keep it line of sight from these guys off of it. And the rifleman, it can only move 8, so probably it's not going to have line of sight to it either. It'll keep its back to the wall, so nobody can get behind it. Get my measuring tape. It is, I just measured it. It's within 12. It can only run 12, and it can't jump within here. It's actually only 11 to there, so it's going to move right there. Now, give it a movement thingy. And it can scan within 12. That's easily within 12. Let's hope this is another supply cache and not something terrible. C. Okay. Where's my book? Let's see what O4C says. Or C. A pair of light transports are parked here with crates loaded on their cargo beds. This waypoint represents a supply cache to be picked up or destroyed. Excellent. So we found another supply cache. Yeah, what to do. I do need to move a second unit. Give me a moment. All right, so my Highlander up here is just going to move in beside the Caesar. See it here. It's easily within 6. And stay behind here so that, these things can't shoot. The rifleman, and so on and so forth. So he'll do that. I already measured it. It's not that far. Give it a movement token. Oh, I forgot to give the Caesar one. Okay, so that's 2 units moved for me. The summoner could get in both of their backs, but I don't know that it's going to. Anyways, let's see who moves next for them. All right, next to move for them is going to be this other elemental, this one here. This one's kind of in a tricky situation. I want to explain why it's going to do what it's going to do, how I interpret it. All right. So the first thing says if there are any activated enemies within 8 inches. And yeah, there is. This Hellspawn is activated within 8 inches. Activated means it has moved this turn. So it wants to go to the target, the nearest activated target. So it wants to be able to shoot this thing at least, right? It's going to jump, wants to move to target, but it also wants the least line of sight to the fewest other enemies, and that's really, really difficult because if it moves towards it all, everybody can see. My Pillager, my Highlander, my Caesar are all going to be able to see it easily. And there are very few places it can go that it's going to get out of line of sight of anybody. But there is one place, if it actually jumps over towards here, then it's going to be able to cut off line of sight from the Pillager. So it's not going, even though the Pillager hasn't moved yet and it might get into line of sight, it has to work with what it's got on the table right now. So it's actually going to jump you can interpret this in all kinds of different ways, but the best thing for it to do, I think there aren't very many great things for them to do, right? To stay safe is to get out of line of sight of the Pillager at least. So that's what that elemental is going to do. It's going to jump away here to get out of line of sight towards them. And like whether that's the right interpretation or not, it's not a terrible move. There aren't a lot of really great moves. Sure, you could want to get within short range distance to make your TMM a little lower. Maybe. I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta interpret it the best you can, right? And if it were in short range of the Hellspawn, then the Hellspawn would be in short range of it, and possibly another mech as well. We'll see. Although I think it's going to be fight over this this waypoint there. So they've moved. I have to move 1. And I'm going to move my Hellspawn. No, my Legionnaire here. Hellspawn just moved. So the Legionnaire is very, very fast. It has 18-inch movement, and it can actually go back here, and it needs to overlap with the objective token, and it can do that if it, I think it can do that. If it wants to pick it up, it needs to overlap with the objective token. Oh yeah, that's very easily within its movement, so it's going to, here. It's just going to move back here and make sure that those elementals are not in its rear. And then it will be able to pick up that supply, thing at the end of this turn. All right, next to move is the Summoner. You can kind of see just in the shadows there. And the Summoner has a tricky situation. You can see it on the big map. Here's the Summoner. at the moment the Legionnaire is in its rear. There's a Hellspawn right here, and so these guys right here. So it's kind of it doesn't have a lot of really great options. It's not going to run out into the behind these units into their rear, specifically because one of the commands on the card says no unactivated enemies within 12 inches, and that's great because I have this pillager right here that has not moved yet, is unactivated. So moving here is exactly what it doesn't want to do. It doesn't want to get that pillager in its back, so it's not going to do that. As for what it is going to do, well, it definitely wants to not get shot in the rear. So and it wants to be able to shoot the Hellspawn actually. Yes, it wants to, because it wants to shoot somebody within. It's only looking at people within 12 inches, so that's here. This thing, is it actually going to go after the Savannah Master, who is yellow? It wants to go after the most yellow, but the Savannah Master's out of its initial range, and the most yellow happens to be the Hellspawn there. So it's basically just going to kind of turn so that its back is on the wall and it has a line of sight. It can't get into the woods like it wants to. It can't get any cover. It has no chance for any of that. Well, actually, wait, give me a second. All right, last to move for me is my pillager, who's actually just gonna come up beside its buddies here using this mountain to keep it from getting shot from that rifleman who's going to be advancing. I considered like running. I have speed demon and I could run farther in and maybe get a shot at the summoner, but if I do, I'll be getting hit from these elementals, the summoner, probably this thing too, from every side, and I don't want to take so much damage this turn. So the pillager's just going to be moving up. You can see it there on the action cam, and it'll move up beside its buddies. And it can do that easily. It has 8-inch movement. That was only about 6. So that's it for movement for me. Oh, last to move for them is going to be the rifleman. And the rifleman actually wants to go after the closest yellow unit, and that happens to be my Savannah Master right here. And it wants to be out of line of sight of lots of other people, so it's actually going to come around this corner so that it gets a line of sight on the Savannah Master, unfortunately. Well, it has a high TMM, so we'll see. It is on the action cam, and it's going to be going out this door. Right there, 8 inches. And it can see my Savannah Master. That's not so great. It is very weak. Is it within 6 inches? Is it in short range? Like just out of short range. Just like quarter inch out of short range. Luckily. So that's it for moving. We can get on with the shooting now. Right, so I get to shoot first. My pillager actually has line of sight to no one. Can't see those elementals through that wall, so they were clever going that direction. Next up for me then would be the Highlander. And I got to get the action cam. These guys are going to be shooting at the elementals. The Highlander here taking a shot at the elementals. Elementals are difficult to hit. It's going to be a 9, and the Highlander can do 6 damage, so 9s. Give me 9s. Let's go, Highlander. I believe in you. 1, 2, 3 out of 6. Actually, that's not bad on that elemental. Damage. 1, 2, 3. That's actually a critical hit. It only has 2 armor. So we'll do a crit. I'm going to use my green dice. I feel like they're lucky. Lucky for crits. All the crits on them are weapon hits. It's the same as turrets, I think. So if they get a 9 or a 5, that's no crit. And they got a 7, so that is a weapons crit. And they will go down from 220 to 110. That is if they don't get destroyed by my Caesar, who gets to shoot next. Is also going to be shooting at the elementals. Needs a 9 and can do 4 damage. Come on, Caesar. We only need 1 9 to destroy these elementals. Let's do it. Hey, we got it. We got 2 9s, and that is it for those elementals. Bam, they are out of the fight. All right, my Legionnaire, it's standing directly next to the elementals, is actually going to shoot at the summoner standing back here. I figured I would be able to destroy the elementals with these 3. Didn't want to waste shots. So it's going to be 8s, and the Legionnaire gets 2 shots. 8s. Oh, I got 1. 1 8, so that's 1 more damage on the summoner. It's down to 1 armor left. And my last shot is going to be the Hellspawn here, also shooting at the summoner. You can just see him on the action cam here. There's the Legionnaire, so they're shooting from both sides. No, I'm wrong. That's the summoner behind here. Hellspawn and the Legionnaire shooting both at him. Also needs 8s. 2 damage. I could give it a crit if I land both of these. Give me 8s. Hey, both hit. That's 2 damage on the summoner. Bam, bam. So the summoner takes a crit. Lucky green dice. 7. 7 is an MP hit. It is. Where's my pen? Dry erase marker. So 1 MP hit, and that changes from 10 to 5 movement. Oh, that's really good. That's excellent. It can't jump within the tunnels anyway, so it's down to 5 movement. All right. Now for the not so fun part, they get to shoot back at me. And it's going to be starting with the rifleman over here. Shooting at the Savannah Master. See him? Get rid of the blue stuff, sorry. There's the rifleman. There's the Savannah Master. It's actually going to be a 9. It's... is it going to be a 9? Oh, yeah, no. Just remembered, vehicles never get partial cover. I was just going to check if it gets partial cover. It doesn't. So it can do, the rifleman can do 4 damage and needs 9s. Let's get lucky. Come on. Oh, yeah. Well, okay, that's it for my Savannah Master. It's toast. Bam, bam. And Next up, the summoner at the hell spawn. I kind of that's really annoying with the my Savannah Master is gone. I got to roll to see if it's destroyed completely or I can salvage it, but I get to do that at the end of the mission. Gotta not forget that. So, Summoner is shooting at the Hell Spawn. So here's the Summoner. There's the Hell Spawn. It's not such a difficult shot. 7, needs 7s, and does 4 damage. Let's see. Oh, 3 damage. 3 out of 4 on my Hell Spawn. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Last up for them is going to be the Elementals. Right here. Can't see them on the action cam. They're right back there, but they're shooting at the Hell Spawn as well. They need 7s and can do 2 damage. Whoops. Losing dice all over the place. 7s, 2 damage. Hey, it missed with both. That's not so bad. So no more damage to my Hell Spawn. It still has 2 armor left. As for everybody else, this elemental here has no line of sight. Neither do either of these emplacements. This emplacement is gone, so that is it for the shooting. We can the next turn. Well, sort of. We got to look at some things. So we'll take a look at what's going on here at the end of the turn. I'll get rid of this blue stuff. I always forget. So for the enemy, the summoner looking pretty rough. Only 3 structure left. It's taken a movement point damage, so it's only got a motive damage, so it's only got 5 movement left. Then for the enemy, the elemental is toast. All gone. Out of the game. That's really great for me. My Hellspawn, it's taken 3 damage, 2 left. That's okay. It got through the round better than I hoped. It could have gotten a crit. Why does it have a fire control hit? That must be from a previous game. That hasn't gotten any fire control hits. There was a fire control crit down there, but that's silly. That's the first time it got hit. That's from a previous game. And then my poor Savannah Master. Also destroyed, unfortunately, in this turn. But, as you can see, the elementals are worth 21 points. My Savannah Master was only worth 11 points. So that means that they did lose more point value this turn. And we'll see what that means. Stuff back. Summoner goes back here. Elemental goes in the trash pile. Savannah Master goes in the trash pile. Look at the card. What does it say? So from the top, the top one's always if the objective is complete, and that's not true. If there are no enemies within 24 inches of your units, that's not true. If you lost less PV worth of units this turn, no, that's not true. If you lost more PV worth of units this turn, yes, that is true. So that means it's going to D. Let's get the D card. Okay, D has no orders, no priority for anything. It's going to shift around red, blue, and yellow. So red is the most short-range damage. That's my Highlander. So my Highlander is now red. Yellow is the least armor. The least armor now is the Hellspawn. There. And blue is the highest movement. And the highest movement is actually my Legionnaire. Movement 18, so Legionnaire is going to be blue. All right, so we're on deck D, and I think we are just about ready for initiative. So they won last turn, meaning they get a -2 to their roll. Let's see what they get. Let's see what I get. So I get a 7, and they get a 10 -2, which is an 8, meaning I lose initiative again. There's one thing I forgot at the end of the last turn. Doesn't really matter, but I'll go through it. End phase, picking up supplies. During the end phase, a friendly unit that meets all of the following criteria may pick up a supply token and either carry it or give it to another friendly unit within 2 inches to carry. So here you can see on the action cam, there's my Legionnaire who is overlapping this token and will pick it up. And I didn't realize it could pass it to somebody else. So it might be able to run back and give it to one of the slow guys and then go back for something else. I could probably do that. Yes, a unit carrying supplies places the token on its stat card. Each unit can only carry 1 supply token. If a unit carrying supply token is destroyed, the supply token it was carrying is also destroyed. All right, so my Legionnaire picks up that and places it on its stat card. 1 down. Down. Let's see what goes on. Let's see what goes on now. I got to move first. All right, starting off for me, my Caesar and my Highlander, I got to move 2 again, are going to move into this area and face that direction. So, big map. They're going like this and like that, and they're going to face that way. The summoner would be able to get into their rear. However, I have my Legionnaire here that you can barely see, and the Hellspawn, and the Pillager. So hopefully it's not going to do that. I'm going to move 6. Moving into the tunnels. 6 and stand right there. To move for the enemy is the Rifleman up here. And I thought we could take another look at Ace's card, see what it says and what it's going to do there for us. So we look at aggressive. If there are any activated units in 24 and no unactivated units in 12. Well, there aren't any unactivated units in 12, but oh yeah, there are unactivated units in 24. So it's going to go towards somebody first who's in 14. There is nobody, but in 24, it wants to go to get line of sight to somebody who is activated and the most yellow one it can get. And yellow would be the least armor, and out of the Highlander and the Caesar, it doesn't really matter because they're standing right next to each other. If it gets line of sight to one, it'll get line of sight to the other. So what the Rifleman's going to do, therefore, is just going to get to this corner so that it has line of sight in this way, and it wants to get cover from the most enemies, and it'll get cover from the corner of that building. Right? There's the Rifleman. Can move 8. Yeah, so it can move easily to the corner of that building, gets partial cover from the corner of that mountain, and can see both the Highlander 2C and the Caesar. That is what the rifleman does. Right. For me, my hell spawn here, I'm going to kind of get to this corner here. The action cam just around the corner there, kind of looking, and it's going to look and try to scan this, or maybe this one. It wants to stay out of line of sight of this turret. Yeah. And it can move 12, so it can easily do that. Yeah. And yeah, it's got partial cover from this turret here. And scan either one of them. It's going to scan the closer of the two. It can see that. That's easily within 12 inches. So, what is it? D. D. I think that's good news. I hope that's good news. The last one, if it's the last thing, then we will have found all of them at least. So D. The enemy sends a volley. No, I'm reading. I was reading the wrong ones. That was 1. 4. D. Crates full of missiles and autocannon rounds are stacked under a tarp. This waypoint represents a supply cache to be picked up or destroyed. Yes. Okay, that's really, really good. That means I don't have to flip over the other ones. And if I did have to, oh, that's so lucky that I didn't actually flip over any bad ones. I didn't set this up. I didn't cheat. I didn't know which ones were where. I swear to you. I just got very lucky. I don't know what the other ones say, but I knew where A and B were because I had the reconnaissance. C and D happened to be there and there. Oh, now hopefully I can grab them. I can grab them and get out of here, maybe. Okay. So that was my move, but I need to move someone else. Okay, well, the Legionnaire can't go pick up anything because it's holding one already. But it could bring one to somebody else with hands. Legionnaire is here. I could either move the Legionnaire or I could move my Pillager. I'm sorry about all the blue stuff. Give me a second. I need to think about this. Okay, so my Legionnaire here is holding one already, and it's going to move up to this wall, keep its back to the wall, and hand it off to the Caesar. So here, it's just going to come over this way, and this is the Caesar. It's going to hand it off this turn. Oh, we'll do that. This guy can move 18 inches, so that doesn't even need to be measured. He wants to, so it needs to be within 12. He wants to stay out of line of sight of that rifleman over there. And that's 2 inches. It's easily 2 inches, and he can pass it at the end of the turn to the Caesar and hopefully go grab something else. Now, see what the enemy does. Next to move is going to be the Summoner. Not looking so good, Summoner. All right, so next up is going to be the Summoner, and the Summoner's card says no enemies within 16, not even no unactivated enemies, no enemies. It took the balanced way. It couldn't take aggressive because there are unactivated enemies. Here, my Pillager is unactivated, hasn't moved yet. So it wants to get farther away from the enemies. It wants to be 16 inches. So it's actually going to come behind here so that it has line of sight to these guys, but gets cover from the edge of this mountain. It is a sniper using a sniper deck. So it's easily within 10 inches, which is its movement range. Yeah. So it's just moving back there, taking cover from corner of that mountain. Token, where are the tokens? Here's a token. It moved. Now I get to move my last unit. So my pillager, it's just going to move up to this corner. It's going to move up to this corner, get line of sight with some cover from the mountain to both of those units there. And it can move 8 still, so that's no problem. That a movement token. Yeah, it can see both of them. So I thought we'd take another look at a card, because this is actually interesting, and I haven't seen this. This hasn't happened to me before. So look at the aggressive column. It says if there are any activated units within 12. Yep, there's tons of them. We're talking about this elemental unit here, and these guys. This is just about 6 inches exactly to the Caesar here. And then it says it wants to get, in line of sight to the most blue person behind somebody if it can. It can't. Occupy woods obviously can't. But here, at the very last one, target in base contact. And that is definitely possible. This target is within 6, and it will get into base contact with that Caesar. And that means it's going to be able to deliver an anti-mech attack this turn against my Caesar. I haven't had that happen yet. We'll see how that goes. So that's everybody moving. Now we can get to the shooting. This is going to be interesting. I was wrong. I was wrong about the summoner. The summoner cannot move back behind there. I forgot. It got a movement hit last turn. The summoner can't do much of anything. Honestly, it wants to get away. So it's the only thing it can do actually is move 5 inches backwards. And that's what it wants to do the most. So it's not getting any partial cover or anything. Sorry about that. Sometimes, these things, they just, you forget what you're doing. And I forgot it had a movement crit, and it does so. It can't get to partial cover or anything. It's just going to try to move away. All right, now we get to shooting. And first up is going to be my pillager, who's going to take a shot at that elemental here. You can see it on the action cam. The pillager needs 8s, and it can do 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gimme 8s. Oh, yes. 1, 2, 3 damage on the elemental. 1, 2, 3. And that's a crit. As long as it's not a 5 or a 9, it's a weapons crit. I think. Is there a... Wait a second. No, there's a proper... Just a minute. Yeah, all critical hits are weapon hits, but I like to give them a chance to get no crit. So a 5 or a 9 is no crit. And that's an 8, so that's a weapons crit on the elemental. And it does 1, 1, 0 from now on. And who's next? The Highlander is going to shoot at the summoner. Where is it? Yeah, right there. Highlander is like right there. Highlander 2C shooting at the summoner that's out in the open because it got a motive crit and can't move. It needs an 8. Still needs an 8. Here it is on the big map. But can do 6 damage. Possibly destroy the summoner this turn if it gets a couple of 8s. How much? Yeah, it needs to hit with 4 to get The summoner destroyed. Give me 8s. Boah, no way. Ugh. Terrible shot. Everything missed. Highlander, what are you doing? What are you doing? All right, next up is going to be the Caesar at the summoner that also needs 8s and can do 4 damage. Come on, Caesar. Don't whiff it like the Highlander did. Can do 4 damage, needs 8s. Give me a miracle. Oh, yeah, that's not bad. 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 hit. All 4 hit. I even got a crit, but it doesn't matter. The Caesar saves the day. 1, 2, 3, 4. The summoner is out of the battle. That's so good. Caesar, you're going to probably get... Oh, the Caesar doesn't have a named pilot. I was going to say it's going to get the MVP, but there's nobody sitting. There's an unnamed pilot in the Caesar. All right. The Legionnaire, for me, is going to be shooting at this elemental. Legionnaire is on that back wall. There's the elemental. You can see it right there. The Legionnaire needs 7s and can do 2 damage. It could destroy that elemental this turn. That would be really, 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 really good. So it needs 7s. Give me 7s. No! He missed with both. Okay, lastly for me, my Hellspawn is going to be shooting... Oh, that's a terrible line. Shooting at that emplacement there. You can see it on the action cam. Hellspawn needs a 2, so it's an auto hit. Can do 2 damage, but I'm going to roll it anyway, see if I get a crit on it. That would be amazing. 2 damage. Oh, so close to a crit. 2 6s, I got 11. It's still 2 damage on that emplacement. 1, 2, but that's no crit or anything like that. All right. All right, now for the enemy team, the Summoner is actually going to be taking a shot at that Legionnaire. It's tired of shooting these giant, can't penetrate their armor mechs. So it's taking a shot at the Legionnaire. It's going to be a 9 and does 4 damage. It needs 9s. Don't get any 9s. Missed with everything. So that's pretty good. Next up for the enemy is going to be the Rifleman, who is shooting at the Highlander, actually. It was interesting. It could choose between... It wanted the one with the least armor, and the Caesar's been hit the most, but it still has as much armor as the Highlander. So it actually ended up picking the Highlander to shoot, and it only needs 6s, and it can do 4 damage. Oh, and it misses with a couple. It does 2 damage. So 2 damage to the Highlander. That's fine. No, that was the Pillager. Highlander. It started with 9 armor, I think, so it still has 7 left. Next up, the Elemental. The Elemental here, in base case contact with the Caesar, is going to be doing an anti-mech attack. So it's like leg attack or something like that. It needs 5s. And if it hits, it can do it does a crit on my Caesar, and that's not unlikely that it's going to crit my Caesar, so that's pretty bad news. Let's see. First, it does 2 damage on... Oh, wait a minute. Let me Yes, I only make one attack roll. I'll use my green lucky dice. Maybe they won't get a 5. They probably will. One attack roll, and they do their short range damage plus a crit. So if they get a 5. And they got a 10. So they do 2 damage on the Caesar. 1, 2. Caesar's still in good condition that way. Let's see what kind of crit it gets. And that's a 4. That's a fire control hit. That's not the best. Fire control hits are pretty annoying. But I'm actually happy it's not a movement crit. So fire control for the Caesar. If it had been a movement, it would have been really, really difficult for the Caesar to maybe escape now with the supplies that it is carrying. Last up for the enemy, and the last shot of this round is going to be this turret shooting at my Hellspawn here. It needs an 8. Hellspawn's very... well, they have a low skill, and Hellspawn is pretty quick. Needs an 8. Wait a second. Let me recalculate that. No, it's actually a 9. Because they have a skill of 4, plus 2 for my TMM, plus 2 for range, so that's 8, plus 1 because I have partial cover. That's going to be a 9, and they get to do 1 damage. So emplacement against the Hellspawn, 9, and they do 1 damage. Oh, I forgot to take the other one away, and they got a 9. So that is 1 damage on my Hellspawn. Ooh. Hellspawn's taken 4 damage now, has 1 armor left. And that's it for the shooting. We can get to the end of the round summary. All right, so for the end of turn report, their summoner is toast, all destroyed. Their elemental, their last elemental, has 1 structure left. It has a weapon critical and 1. It does 1-1-0 now. Medium placement has 2 armor lost. Its rifle, their rifleman, is still untouched. As for me, my Highlander 2C has only taken 2 damage. Still got 7 armor left, doing pretty well. Caesar has taken, well, quite a bit of damage, 7, but it still has... it should still have 7 left. How much has it taken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it started with 14, so it should have 7 armor left. Hellspawn, I think. It doesn't matter. Hellspawn has 1 armor left. Yeah, and my Legionnaire and Pillager are still actually untouched. So that's pretty good. Next, we'll take a look at the commander card. Summoner goes in the trash heap. So, commander card says, the first one, no, their objective is not complete. If you lost less PV worth of units, no. If you lost more PV worth of units, yes, they lost their summoner, which you can actually see over here on the action cam. Summoner's down, so it's going to be C. Is that right? C, if you lost more PV worth of units this turn. Yep. What does C say? Assign the move last token to your unit with the most short range damage, and that is going to be the rifleman. No bonus to initiative, and actually they get -2 because they won initiative last round, and they get another -2 because their commander is down. So that's a -4 to their initiative, and I'll roll that right now. So I'm red, they're white. I get a +4, or they get -4. jeez Louise. Well, they got a 5. Minus 4 is a 1. And I got a 2. And so I still managed to beat them. I win initiative for this round. All right, so they have to move first, and their elemental is going to move first. And it's right there, and I thought we could take a look at its card. The first aggressive says if there are any activated units within 12 inches, there are no activated units at this point. He's the first to move. So, second one, balance. If there are any enemies in this unit's line of sight, and that is true, so it will take balance. Now, this is kind of where it can get a little tricky because it says it's going to jump towards the target. Its target is any. It doesn't really say occupy wood. It doesn't say get into the enemy's rear. That's not one of the things in this column. Occupy woods, that's impossible, and line of sight to the fewest other enemies. So I think that's really the only one that's kind of possible. So it's going to jump backwards, kind of behind this rock here. Going to go like that. And it'll still have line of sight to the pillager, but it'll be out of line of sight of all of these. So I think that that's, in this case, the best thing that it can do if it doesn't want to try to get into somebody's rear. And that makes sense because nobody has activated. They're not going to stay where they are. So I seem to have lost my measuring tape. I don't know where I put it. Brought it downstairs or something. But I got this thing, and it's just going to kind of get itself behind there. It jumped. It's kind of standing on the turret a little bit. It can see the pillager, but is out of line of sight of everyone else. So now I'm going to actually have to move 3 units. And I'm going to start by moving my Caesar over in this direction. You can see it over there, and it's just going to be moving towards the pillager that's standing right here. My Legionnaire passed the supplies to it, and it is now trying to escape. So it's just going to move towards the wall. It still wants a view. It wants to be able to see those elementals, and it can if it just moves right there. Wait, I forgot the colors. So yeah, now the colors. My Caesar is now blue and red. It because it's lost the most armor, and the Hellspawn over here is yellow because it has the least armor. So next up for me, I got to get these supplies, and it's actually not going to be, well, I need to get them. My pillager has hands and can move 8 because the TSM is on, and that token is within 7. So my pillager is going to move up that way. Let's see on the action cam behind, standing on top of the token, so it'll be able to pick it up this turn. All right, next, my Highlander. My Highlander is going to go here. It's going to move 6 to the edge of this this rock here, and that means that next turn it will be able to pick this up. I thought about sprinting, but even if it sprinted, if it sprinted and got onto it, it wouldn't be able to pick it up because you can't pick it up if you sprint, and it wouldn't have even made it anyways. So with 2 moves of 6, I will be able to get onto it. And I actually have to move 4 units before they move their last. First, we'll do that. Here's the action cam. That's the corner that it's going to be moving to. 6 inches. It can move just to the edge there. Then, will that be within 6 inches? Yes. Next turn, the Highlander will be able to get it. And as for my last move, my hell spawn is over here. Here's my hell spawn, and it's going to be moving around to this corner. So on the big map over here, it's going to move over here to this corner, and it can't pick anything up. I wish it could pick up something, try to get a shot out that door, see what that rifleman does. I don't know exactly what it does. It doesn't have too many options. So let's do that. That's easily within 12. I can see that. All right. Now for the rifleman's turn. So we can take a look at the rifleman's card 2, and it's going to be aggressive. It says if there are any activated enemies in 24 and no unactivated enemies in 12, and that's definitely true. Here's the rifleman, and that's an activated enemy right there. This thing is, that's the summoner. I'll take that off. Don't need that on the board. So it is going to be aggressive. Does it say it wants line of sight to an activated yellow, the most yellow unit. And the most yellow unit it could get a line of sight of is the Hellspawn, the yellow one designated. So it wants to be in as few enemy line of sight, but still hit that. It's probably going to move up here to this window, get partial cover. It'll have no line of sight to at least the Caesar back here, probably. So yeah, sometimes you can only do as good as you can. So here's the rifleman, and it's just moving up to take cover from that. And it can do that easily and wants a shot at the Hellspawn. And also, it has no line of sight to the Pillager here as well. So no line of sight to that one and that one. That's not a bad move for it. So since I get to move last, I get to move my Legionnaire, which is back there on the action cam. You can just barely see it back there somewhere. What it's going to do with its 18 movement is going to go zoop, and in the back of the rifleman standing there, and you can see here on the action cam, I was thinking I was going to get this, I was going to get that token, but the Highlander still needs a turn to get a token. So if I can get into its rear this turn, I can get the token next turn, same turn that the Highlander will get its token. So that's what my Legionnaire is going to go do. And I measured it. It is 18. I just measured it. I'll do it again. Yeah, easy. 18 inches takes him to there. Oh, he got knocked down. Doop, 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 doop. Oh, that was where the other yellow one was. Right in the back. And yeah, wants to stay out of line of sight. It is out of line of sight of this emplacement up here by that mountain. But others can still see it. Like these emplacements can see it. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So that is all for movement. We will get on to the shooting. All right. So starting off, the rifleman here is going to be shooting at the hell spawn. Good target. The hell spawn only has 1 armor left. The rifleman needs 9s to hit, but gets 4 damage. Let's hope. Nines to hit. Please, no 9s. Ha! Missed with everything. All right. So that's pretty good for me. Next up is going to be the elementals. They are right here. And the elementals are shooting at the Highlander, which is terrible line. Right here. Here's the Highlander. That's who the elementals are going to shoot at. The closest one, obviously. Bam. They can only do 1 damage. They took a weapon crit, and so it's going to be a 4, and they can do 1 damage. It's a low target number, so they're probably going to hit with a 4. What did they get? They got a 5. So that is 1 hit on the Highlander 2C, who has only taken 3 damage so far, still has 6 left. Next up for them, the emplacement. First emplacement. This emplacement here wants to take a shot actually at the Caesar, probably because it's carrying some supplies. And doesn't want it to escape. And that emplacement needs a 7 and can do 1 damage. And they get an 8. So the Caesar takes 1 damage. Bam. Luckily, no crit. Last for the enemy is going to be the last emplacement here, and it can't see the Caesar, otherwise it would shoot at the Caesar. So it's shooting at the Highlander. And that's a pretty easy shot. It's only a 4, but it can do 1 damage. And it gets a 5. So that's 1 more damage on the Highlander, but luckily no crits. Highlander's taken 4 damage and has 5 left. All right. Now it's my turn. My turn. I'm going to inflict some damage on these guys now. So who's up first? My pillager over here, standing on this, is going to be shooting at the elementals. And it's a difficult shot. The pillager's overheated. Elementals are quick, and so it's actually going to be a 10 to hit them. Can do 4 damage, but I only need to hit them with 1, and they're out of the game. So give me a 10 pillager. Give me a 10 pillager. No damage, as you can see. So next up for me is going to be my Highlander. Where is the Highlander? The Highlander is here, and it's taking a shot at the Rifleman. It's actually in medium range. You can see the Highlander on the action cam here, shooting at the Highlander. And the Highlander needs... No, shooting at the Rifleman. The Highlander is shooting at the Rifleman. It needs 8s and can do 6 damage. Let's hope for something great here. Come on. Redeem yourself for your last. I think it missed pretty badly last turn. So 8s, 6 damage. Come on, Highlander. All right, we got a few shots. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 8s. Highlander. Oh, I keep saying the wrong thing. 4 damage on the rifleman. 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a great shot. Excellent. All right, next for me is going to be the Caesar here. Down here is going to be shooting at that emplacement. It only needs a 4 to hit, and it can do 4 damage. Or wait a minute, I'm actually going to rethink this shot. All right, scratch that. The Caesar's going to be shooting at the elementals. I thought that the Pillager was going to be able to take out the elementals, but it wasn't so. The Caesar's going to be taking a shot at the elementals. It actually only needs a 9. Caesar's back here, and it can see the elementals. Elementals, they look like they get a bit of partial cover, but infantry doesn't get partial cover. So, come on, Caesar. 4 damage. Can the Caesar overheat? No. 4 damage, needs 9s. Give me 9s, baby. Yes! Yes! I get a 10. I get 1 10, and that's all I need. 1 damage on that elemental, and it is gone. All right, that was the Caesar. Next, the Legionnaire, who ran into the back of the rifleman. That has a pretty good shot. It only needs 5s and can do 3 damage. You see it on the action cam here. Yeah, there's the Legionnaire in the rear. So 3 damage, only needs 5s. Don't say only needs 5s, you're going to jinx it. It needs 5s. I believe in you, Legionnaire. You can do it. That's what I mean. Wait a second. I rolled 5 damage. That's no big deal. I have to take out the top 2, the highest 2. And that's still 3 5s. All hit through 3 damage on the rifleman. Haha! 1, 2, 3. That means I get a crit. Crit on the rifleman. Use my fancy green dice. Let's go 7. That is an MP hit. So, rifleman takes a movement hit, and its movement goes down to 4. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. It's toast. Okay, and we have 1 more for me to shoot. My hell spawn has not shot at the rifleman yet. It's going to try to do that. Where is the hell spawn on the action cam? Can you see it? No, it's kind of behind here. But it's shooting at the rifleman. Let's see if we can take it out. It needs 8s and can do 2 damage. Come on, give me 8s. Yes, 2 damage on the rifleman. All right, the rifleman is down to 2 structure. Oh, that was a really good round for me against that rifleman. Another crit against the rifleman. What do we get? We got a 9, and that is, I believe, a no crit. Yep, so the rifleman avoids another critical hit, but its movement is down to 4. It's only got 2 structure left. Oh, okay, and that does it for shooting in this round. What round are we even in? Round 4. Okay, we can get to the end of round report. All right, taking a look at the units. Oops, wrong screen. I wanted to get rid of that one. Taking a look at the units, this is the state of the rifleman, whose movement is down to 4. It has 2 structure left, not looking so great. Elementals, gone. My Highlander 2C has taken 4 damage. No crits. The Caesar does have a crit. It has a fire control crit that isn't marked. Worry about that. Sometimes they rub off. But it's still got, I think, 7. Or I gotta see. I gotta count this armor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it started with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 4. There's too many to count. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it should have 6 armor left. My black dots aren't always right on. So the Caesar has, I'm going to redo those properly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. Caesar has 6 armor left, and that fire control hit. Legionnaire, as of yet untouched. Hellspawn, still 1 armor. No crits, luckily. All right. Let's look at the commander card. What does it say? First one isn't. It isn't. If there are no enemies within 24, no, that's not true. If you lost less PV, no, that's not true. If you lost more PV worth of units this turn, go to D, and they did again. That's kind of been running theme. They seem to lose a unit pretty much every turn. This time they lost these elementals here. Can take those off the board. So they only got the riflemen and some emplacements left. If I don't know if I mentioned this, but as a secondary target, as a secondary objective, I want to destroy the 2 elementals, the summoner, and the rifleman. And I've done 3 of those, and I just need to get the rifleman, and I can get that secondary objective. So here's D. It gets no bonuses or anything. Red, most short range damage is going to be my Highlander. Yellow, least armor is going to be the Hellspawn still. The most movement is the Legionnaire. So blue is going to be Legionnaire over there. Now we can roll initiative. Turn 5. Actually, before I roll initiative, I'm going to pick this up, and my pillager is now holding number A, 1 supply crate, and wants to get out of here now. All right, time for initiative round 5. It's going to be an even initiative. They get a -2 because their commander is down. I'm going to get a -2 because I won initiative last round. So it's even. I'm red, they're white. And it's a 5 versus a 4. I just barely inched them out. That is incredibly lucky. All right. So I think this is actually kind of weird with the initiative. Normally, they would move and I would get to move all 5 of mine. But in this scenario, you do this front-loaded, and I think I'm actually going to have to move 4 of mine, and then they can move their riflemen, and I'm going to get to move 1 after them, just to try to make it a little more fair. So I'm going to actually have to move 4 of my guys at a time, and I'm going to start here with the Highlander, who is going to go and get that token. And can just do it, even going around the emplacement there is on that token. Pillager already has a token. Caesar has a token. So what am I going to do? Give me a second. So my Legionnaire is actually going to run around and get this token right here. Can't see it on the action cam so much. But Legionnaire is outside this door and is just going to run in and get that token right there. Don't even need to measure it. And stand like that. My next, I think I want to just start sprinting with everybody. Honestly. Who's moved? My Highlander's moved. Legionnaire has moved. My Pillager, who is holding my Pillager, you can just see over that wall here, and is holding some supplies. Give me a second. Okay, then my Caesar, which you can see here, see right here, it's going to be moving back. It's going to be moving. It's going to try to escape. I can escape from here and like this whole side and this whole side and all the way to there. So any of those places are good for escape for me. Caesar's going to sprint back this way. It's not going to be able to see anyone anyway. It's got a fire control hit. It wants to get off the board. I want to get off the board as fast as possible. I kind of feel like I'm abandoning my friends, but I think we'll manage. I hope we'll manage. So it's going to be a 9. It can sprint for 9, and it's going to go like that. It's trying to get out. Sprinted. Then I need to do one more. And my Hellspawn is also going to come out this way. It can move 12. So it's just going to move this way. It doesn't sprint. It didn't sprint. It's just going to go like that. Hopefully they'll be able to escape. Here are the 2 next to the turret that fell down on their way out. So that's 4 for me. I have 1 left, which is my Pillager. They have to move their Rifleman now. So their Rifleman can't do much. It can only move 4 inches. It doesn't want any unactivated enemies in 12, so it wants to get as far away from this guy as possible, and is just going to try to move up that direction a little bit. You can see the Rifleman right there on the action cam. And it's going to move back like 4. Trying to get away from the Pillager. And I get to move my Pillager last. And Pillager can move 8 with the TSM on. Could move 10 with the Speed Demon, but that's not enough to get into the rear of that. Get into short range, just going to that corner right there. That's where my Pillager is going to go. get a shot at that rifleman. Hopefully, I think it's the only one who's going to be able to shoot at the rifleman this turn. Oh no, the Highlander standing on its thing can also see the Highlander. It's got some partial cover, but all right. So that's everybody who's moved. We can get on to some shooting. Okay, starting off, the rifleman back here actually wants to shoot at the Highlander standing right there, not at the pillager, believe it or not. So it needs 7s and does 4 damage. Rifleman at the Highlander, and it does 3 damage to the Highlander. Where is my Highlander? 1, 2, 3. Oh, the Highlander has 2 armor left. Oh dear. Highlander has 2 armor left. Next, the emplacements. Actually, both of these emplacements are going to be shooting at this pillager right here. And they both need 6s, and they do 1 damage. Placement at the pillager. The emplacements want to go for the pillager because... Why do they want to go to the pillager again? Emplacements want to go after the one with the most movement and the least structure. And the pillager has more movement than the Highlander. So 1 damage. They each need 6s. On the pillager... First one hits. Second one also hits, but no crits. So 2 damage on the pillager. 1, 2. Those are the only damage it's taken so far. I think it still has about 8 left. 8 armor. So the pillager's doing well. Now it's time for me to shoot back. So starting off, my pillager is going to be shooting at the rifleman. And this is a great shot. It only needs 6s and can do 4 damage. It would be 5s, but the pillager is still overheated. So 6s, 4 damage. Come on, pillager, I know you can do it. Everything hits. That's 4 damage on the rifleman. And it only had 2 structure left, so that is the last of that. Pillager, well done. Next, my Highlander is going to just be shooting at one of these emplacements here. And, well, it doesn't really need to shoot at all, and it doesn't even need to roll because it's an auto hit. And, no, it's not going to shoot that emplacement. Sorry, wrong. Highlander is shooting at this emplacement. It's done it's taken 2 damage already, and so it only has 6 left. And it's auto hits. So it's actually, I think, a 0 to hit. And that does 6 damage on that emplacement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that emplacement is out of the game. Next. What's next? The Legionnaire over here is going to be shooting at this emplacement. That's also going to be an auto hit. It's only a 2 to hit. But I will roll that because I might crit it. And if I crit it, it's out of the game as well. So I only need 2s to hit. Can do 2 damage. See if we can get a crit. No crit. Still 2 damage on that emplacement. 1, 2. Okay. Things are looking pretty good. That was the Legionnaire. Hellspawn. The Hellspawn is here and can see this emplacement here and was going to shoot at it, but it's already destroyed by the Highlander, so The Hellspawn's not going to do anything. Neither is the Caesar. It gets no shot. It can see no one. All right, end of turn report. Their rifleman is gone. They still have one medium placement, the one way up on the other side. Show you. That one kind of here in the distance. It's untouched, obviously. Their other emplacement here. No, that's the wrong one. I removed the wrong one. This emplacement here is untouched as well. That's it for the enemy force. There's my Pillager who's taken 2 damage. Here's my Highlander 2C that only has 2 armor left. Legionnaire untouched. Hellspawn still 1 armor, but it's going to get off the map here in a minute. Caesar still doing all right, taking a lot of damage. Bullet Sponge still has 6 armor left. So let's take a look at the commander card. What does it say? So I can already see it already says if you lost more PV worth in units this turn, go to C, which is true. Initiative phase. They don't have any more units to move. Well, yet, but we're going into turn 6 now, and something's going to happen, and I imagine probably more units might show up. Actually, and that could be dangerous for me. So we'll see. What does it say though? Assign move last token to your unit with the most short range damage. So we'll see if somebody shows up and who does the most short range damage when we get there. Wait, where do we go? D. So time to roll initiative. It's going to be even again. I won last time, and they have no commander, so it's even once again. And something's going to happen on turn 6. So what do we get? I got a 7, they got a 5. I won initiative once again. I am getting lucky with initiative, that is for sure. So it moves up to turn 6. And event H happens. Event H. So 4H. This isn't going to be good. I know for a fact. If you have the keyword early warning, I do have the keyword early warning. I got it last time. That's bad. Read the following. Otherwise, this waypoint token is discarded without effect. Earlier reconnaissance efforts of the Jade Falcons seems to have paid off, and they must have suspected you'd come looking for this supply cache. Set up and place the following 2 units in the northwest corner of the map. Locust 2C4 and the Howler 6. I knew it. All right, let me get those 2. All right, so here they are, the Locust here and the Howler. Locust is using the Striker deck. The Howler is using the Scout deck. Yeah, and they lost initiative, so they have to move first. All right, so the Howler has to move first, and I thought we'd look at its card. Let's see, if the ideal red is activated, no, nobody's activated, it's going first. If there are any activated units in 30 inches, no, there's nobody activated, you're going first. So it's going to be cautious. Go towards the nearest. Ground movement, sprinting, it doesn't need to sprint. 18 inches towards the target. Cover versus the most enemies in the fewest enemies line of sight, and wants to occupy woods. And it actually can occupy woods because there's some woods right in front of it, and that's what it wants to do. So the Howler can move 14. So it's going to move 7 to the edge of the woods, which leaves it with 3.5 left. It's in the woods there. It does have line of sight to the Highlander 2C. Now I'm going to have to move 4 units, I imagine. Give me a moment. You can just see where it moved, right? There to there. There's on the action cam. There it is in that forest. You can see people. Anyway, my turn, and I want to get out of here. I think I'm going to sprint with most of my people. Now, my pillager actually can sprint quite far. If its TSM is on... Oh, wait, I didn't take off the movement tokens. Diddly-doo, gotta do everything. Can't forget anything. Did I forget the colors? Structure lost. Nobody has any structure lost. Armor lost, that's the Caesar. Red is the Caesar. There's the Caesar. Yellow, least armor, that's the Hellspawn, that's fine. Blue is going to be also the Caesar for the most armor lost. Sorry if I forgot that. So, my pillager can move 8 with its TSM on. It would be able to sprint for 12, and if it uses its speed demon ability with sprinting, it gains an extra 4 inches of movement. So that will be 16 inches of movement that the pillager will actually be able to move. Spend one of its speed demon points. I'll just measure out 16. That's actually quite impressive. It's going to join its buddies back here. Donks. 16 movement. It should be able to escape next round. Now I need to move like 4 people. Oh, wait. Sprinted, so I need sprinting. Won't be able to shoot anything. I'm going to have to move more. So my Legionnaire who can move 18 would be able to sprint 27? Yeah, so the Legionnaire can actually sprint like all the way down to this corner here. So that's 2 who have moved. Rifleman can get out of there. Rifleman's gone. So it's going to be the problem is going to be the Highlander. So the Highlander is going to sprint as well. It can sprint for 9. So it's going to be able to move just there, like that. You can see it on the action cam. And it wants this turret not to be able to see it at all, which it can't. So that's good. This is going to take me a couple turns. He's going to need another turn just to get down there, and then a third turn to properly get out. And we got these guys coming in. Slow. Unfortunately, my Highlander is slow. Next for me, my Hellspawn. Sorry. The Hellspawn here, right there, is going to leave the map. It has enough movement to get off this edge. It doesn't go that way. It's going to go like right there. Right? It's right here. It has 12-inch movement. It's only got 1 armor left, and it's not holding anything, but I don't want to lose it anyway. So, Hellspawn, you've done well. And you are out of the game. So that's, I've moved 4. They have to move their last, the Locust. All right, and it's not really a surprise. The Locust just wants to join its buddy here in the woods. You can see it on the action cam. Going to move into the woods. It can move 16. So it's like 7 to the edge of the woods. It can just move. It's moving right next to its buddy. They're both in the woods. And maybe going to take some long shots if they have any long range damage. We'll see. And that means my last unit can leave. Well, the Caesar still has some good armor. Has 6 armor left. The Caesar is going to stand still. It's going to try to get it's going to be a long range shot on those guys back there in the forest. So it's going to stand still, try to get a better target number. It's not really worried about, let's see, do either of them have long range? No, neither of them can even shoot at long range, and that's definitely long range. So it'll just be me shooting at them. All right. Well, this is going to be a very quick round of shooting. The only one who can shoot is this Caesar. The Legionnaire sprinted, as did the Pillager, and my Highlander 2C sprinted, but it doesn't have any line of sight to anybody. This is the only, he stood still, and it's going to be a 12. It's going to be a 12. It's going to shoot at the Howler. It can do 2 damage, and it needs a 12 to hit, which would be great. It will get that would be a crit if it does, but let's see. Caesar, and that's the only shot of this entire round. Can the Caesar get a 12? Nope. No hits. So that's the end of this round. And I think this is going to go pretty easy. Nothing's changed since the end of that. Nobody took any damage. Their units are all fine. Looking at the back of the card. Okay. The commander says, if there are no enemies within 24 inches of your units, and that is true, go to card A. So A, before moving a unit, it has no enemies within 30. Add the following movement filter to its chosen behavior. Least the line of sight to the least amount of enemies. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. I kind of have an idea where they're going to want to move this turn. So, that's that. I'm not going to show the cards because nothing happened. Everybody still has the same damage. Yeah, it's just going to be initiative, and it's going to be an even initiative again. They don't have a commander, but I won last time. So we'll see if I can win one more time. Maybe, baby. Maybe not. No, they got a 12. They win initiative. I have to move first. All right, for me, my Highlander standing inside the cave is going to make a sprint outside. It can sprint for 9. Oops, knocking things over. So it can sprint for 9, which brings it just here beside the Pillager. It's going to sprint. My Caesar, once again, is just going to stand still. There he is. These are standing still. So I have to move 2, they move 1, I move 2, they move 1. I have an idea. They're going to want to move up to this because they're going to want to get closer to the enemy, and they're going to want cover, and that's going to be the way to get it. I'm not even going to show you the cards. That's just, like, I can't really see how else it's going to go. So next, my Legionnaire, which is standing right here. Let's See it right there. It's gonna just move back a few steps, because then it'll be in long range of this locust, and the locust has no long range damage, but the legionnaire does. So it's just gonna move right to the edge of the map back there, and although the locust is still gonna shoot at the Highlander here. The pillager is going to stand still too. The pillager's got tons of armor. It's not going to get destroyed by a locust and a howler this turn. Not by a long shot. I'm going to make it out of here. This is going to be great. So last for them is the howler, and I'll just have a look quickly at the card. No, it can't do that. Yeah, it wants to move towards the enemy, and pretty much exactly the same thing as the locust. And it can move up there, gets cover versus the most enemies. It's kind of like the perfect spot, you know. They need to get closer to be able to shoot at anybody. So that's everybody having moved. Get into the shooting. All right, so I lost initiative. I get to shoot first. And the first thing that's going to happen is the pillager here is going to be shooting at the howler. It needs 10s. It's still overheated. 10s and can do 4 damage. Let's see if we can take one of these out. Don't need to get... It's not going to bring us any extra money or anything. 10s and can do 4 damage. Come on, give me 10s. So close. No damage by the pillager. Next is going to be the Highlander at the howler. The Highlander needs 9s and can do 6 damage. So Highlander at the howler, 9s and can do 6 damage. I don't really have the action cam here. There they are. The pillager who just shot and missed, and the Highlander is going to shoot 6 damage, needs 9s. Come on, baby, let's do it. Oh dear, that is really bad. It looks like everything hit except for 1, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 damage on the howler. That's it. That's toast. 1, 2, 3, 4. It only had 4, 2 armor, 2 structure. So, wow. Who did that? That was the Highlander. The Highlander, you get MVP. Taking out that howler in 1 shot. Burger gets the MVP for this round. All right, who's next for me? The Caesar. The Caesar's going to take a shot at the locust then. It needs 9s and can do 4 damage. Whoa, what if the Caesar takes out the locust? That would be really good. No, it can't. It can only do 4 damage. So Caesar at the howler is actually... No, it needs 8s because it stood still. Let me just recalculate that. No, it needs 9s and does 4 damage. 9s, no damage. So no damage on the locust. Last, the Legionnaire is going to take a shot at the locust. It's going to need 12s to hit the locust, though. Can do 2 damage at long range. No hit. Okay, then for the enemy, the Howler gets to shoot. Oh, the Howler's going to want to overheat. If it can, the Howler cannot overheat. Since it's destroyed, they always want to overheat if they're destroyed. So it's actually going to be shooting at the Highlander, which is a bad situation because the Highlander actually only has 2 armor left. And the Baboon can do 2 damage at medium range, and it only needs 6s. So let's hope that the Howler's not going to get 2 6s. Well, it could get 2 6s, and I wouldn't get a crit. That would be all right. And it got 2 hits on the Highlander. 1, 2. No crit. That's it for its armor, though. Next, the Locust is also taking a shot at the Highlander. It also only needs a 6, but it can only do 1 damage at this range. So it will be able to get a crit if it does hit this shot. It needs a 6, 1 damage. It missed. Oh, that's really great. That's really great. Okay. And I believe that's going to be the last shot of this game. I believe that this game is over. Every one of my units is going to be able to sprint off the board. The Highlander, yeah, everybody of mine is going to sprint off the board. We could go through the motions, but it's not really that important because I'll have escaped and won the round, regardless if I win initiative and who goes first or whatever. Really makes it no difference. Every one of my units is going to be able to get out of there this turn, and that means I win, and I actually did pretty well. Let's have a look. Go back and see how much money I'm going to make. So I managed to escape with all 4 of the. I got pretty lucky that I found them quickly. If they had been other places, I'm really not sure what would have happened. Although, yeah, I'm not doing too badly. So, primary objective is you recover the supplies. 300 per supply token carried. So I got 4. That's $1,200. Secondary objective: destroy the defenders. 600. Destroy enemy units 1 to 4. The emplacements can be ignored. And 1 to 4 are the 2 elementals, the rifleman and the summoner. And I did that. So I get 1,200 plus 6. No. Yes, plus 600, I get 1,800 for this sortie, and that's really good because I didn't really get so much on the last one. I was really hoping that I would manage to do this, and I got some lucky rolls, and it was pretty fun. Yeah, what comes next? So then outcome. I guess I can just read the outcome now, right? Number 4, outcome. Wow, that was a long mission. I'm sorry this video is so long. Number 4, outcome. Gain the keyword hidden raid. Okay, that's awesome. Named pilots earned up to 80 SP each. I feel like I should earn more than 80 SP for this one. If you recovered the supplies, gain the keyword recovered. Oh, that's great. So I get two keywords, hidden raid and recovered. And read for W. If you destroyed the supplies, gain the keyword ruined and read for X. No, I don't want to read for X. I'll read for W. Okay, here we go. Once the smoke clears, you take stock of what you've captured. Various munitions, but nothing in the way of significant military hardware. Reviewing your battle ROMs, it looks like there's actually another small exit to the cave network that would be too tight to traverse with a mech, but could probably accommodate some vehicles. You find labels and cargo manifests on some of the captured munitions that give away the location of another convoy, as well as a Jade Falcon reconnaissance post. If you take out those trucks too, the Falcons will be left reeling and will face major logistical issues. but the base could prove a promising target as well. Next steps. If you decide to intercept the convoy, sortie 7. If you decide to attack the Jade Falcon reconnaissance post, sortie 8. Now, I'm not going to say exactly what I'm going to do in today. I will surprise you with which mission's coming next. Yeah. I've got to do all the math still, so stick around, but I've got to go eat some dinner first, I think. Actually, before I get to the math, there are a couple of rolls I still need to make. I need to see if my Savannah Master is truly destroyed or not, and if the pilot is wounded or something worse. So the first roll is going to be see if the Savannah Master is truly destroyed, and I need a 6 or better. It's just 2d6, 6 or better, or the Savannah Master is destroyed. Well, that's a 4. So the Savannah Master is toast. That's not good. That's not so bad. It's a cheap unit. I can probably rebuy it. What else? Oh, the pilot. So it was an unnamed pilot. And I need to check so 7 or better, and they are unscathed. 4 to 6, and they are wounded. But since they are not named pilot, they just have to be replaced. So 7 or better for this guy, or he's got to be replaced. And that's a 5. So he's not, he's wounded. Crew or infantry are wounded. Generic crew must be replaced. Okay, so I lost my Savannah Master and I lost my pilot. For the Savannah Master, I'll have to replace them. That'll come into the math here in just a second. All right, so sortie number 404. Primary objective, I got $1,200 for 3 times, 4 times 300 for the supplies taken. Other objectives, I got 600 for destroying all 4 of their units, which leaves me with 1,800. That's really excellent for one. Reconnaissance, I paid 180 for that reconnaissance. Waypoints, I didn't get any money for that. Rearming units without E&E specialty. 1, 2, 3 units. Times 20 is 60. Personnel, wounded or killed. Well, I don't need to. One guy got wounded, but I don't have to. What am I doing? 150 doesn't go in there. I don't have to pay to heal him. I just need to find a replacement, so I need 1. So that's 150 for finding a replacement. Well, actually, wait a second. I don't need to find a replacement for that because I don't have a unit that he can drive anyways. That's if the crew is wounded, but your unit isn't destroyed. Then if my Savannah Master if I still had my Savannah Master, then I imagine I would have to pay for a replacement pilot. All right, destroyed units. I don't have any. 1 got destroyed, but it's truly destroyed. So 0 crippled units. I don't have any crippled units. Luckily, I have any structure or critical damage. The Caesar, which is size 3 times 40, is going to be 120. Only armor damage, I have the Highlander, which is size 4, Pillager size 4, so that's 8. Hellspawn size 2, so that's 10 in total, and the Legionnaire came out unscathed, so in total 10 times 20 is going to be 200. adding it all up together, all my expenses is 560. And 1800 minus 560 is going to be 1240. 1240. So today is the 2nd of December. Number 4 tunnel raid. I won. I got 1,240 bucks. I'm going to have to minus 320 for my mech warriors. And that's going to leave me with 920. I can add that to my total. That's going to give me 1520. Not bad. Not bad at all. So I guess that's just about going to do it. Oh, wait, I got to make sure to get my my keywords. Keywords. Get the keywords hidden raid. And what was the other one? Recovered. Sounds good. I like the sounds of those keywords. All right. So that's just about going to do it for this one. Thanks so much for watching. Well, actually, if you notice mistakes that I've made during this match, which is absolutely possible, feel free to leave a comment. I will definitely read them. Don't be upset if I delete the comment. I just don't want my comment section being filled with a whole bunch of people saying all the stuff I did wrong during the mission. But if I delete it, that doesn't mean that I didn't read it and I'm not taking it into account. I appreciate that kind of stuff. I'm not perfect and I'm always trying to get better. So that's going to be it. It's already gone way too long. This was a really fun mission. I had a good time doing it. It took me all day. I'll tell you, actually. So I started at 10 this morning, and it is 10 to 7 in the evening. And I had about a 1 hour break to go get my son from school and about a 1 hour break for dinner. So the rest of the time, I've been playing this and recording this. You probably noticed that the light has changed over the course of the entire day, but it was a lot of fun. Like it was great. But it's a lot of work, and honestly, if I got to say, you could probably expect one of these videos per week, maybe. That's what I'm kind of gonna aim for, right? It takes it takes a day, a whole day to film one of these things, sometimes 2 days. It takes at least a day to edit, not like an entire day. I could edit it tomorrow, probably, and it'll probably be released tomorrow. I don't do a lot of editing. Um, long pauses or things that I messed up and then I can notice I can just redo it or something like that. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.